All right, well, good day, folks. We're back at the Creation Research Centre here in Oswestry. I had a bit of a break day yesterday on Sunday, not just at church, but also went and visited some friends in the local area and spent a great time with them and a bit of a relaxation time. But we're back here at the museum. We have the vehicle here and we need to unload. So we're going to do a little unload video and a talk through some of the finds and some of the new acquisitions and so on and so forth, as we sort of bring stuff in and kind of think about wrapping up the road trip, because it's time to sort of bring it to an end. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the next few days, including we have our Creation Research Trust AGM, which is taking place in the building. So we've got to get all prepared and sorted for that, amongst a whole load of other things. I've got a big presentation that I need to make on Wednesday, which is really quite important. So it's sort of about time that we start to bring all of this road trip to an end. It's been, I think, a pretty good success, a pretty decent success overall. The fact that we've found some pretty amazing stuff, which is great. I've had a really good time. It got a little bit cold towards the end, particularly with the camping, but I think we've done pretty well even with that overall. So it's time to sort of sit back and reflect and decide if this is something that we want to carry on doing more regularly. I've seen some of your comments on the last video and I very much appreciate all of those. I like the idea of doing a more international one. Now, we tried to do a sort of international one in the USA. We had Indiana Jones American road trip, right? And that went pretty well. We sort of did, you know, a few live videos. We did a few sort of recorded videos over a few days and so on and so forth. One of the problems we came across, though, with doing a proper road trip, a bit like what we had done this time, one of the problems we came across with doing that in the USA was very simply that, well, in the USA, when we go there for several, weeks at a time, ultimately we're there to do ministry, to travel and do ministry. And that requires a lot of preparation, it requires a lot of work, it requires a lot of traveling and speaking and so on and so forth. So we really didn't have enough time to fully commit to a day-by-day road trip. Now, I really like this idea of the day-by-day road trip. I think that it works really well. I love being able to take you around with me and showing you what our life is like in terms of digging up fossils and so on and so forth. But it didn't quite work that same way for the USA road trip. So certainly if we go back to the USA or Australia or whatever, we'd definitely do updates like that and do reports like that and so on and so forth. But what I think might work is if we are in the States or Australia, doing a sort of a like a 1 week road trip while we're in there, taking you around for like 1 week or something like that. That might work. Particularly in Australia, I'd love to take you to do an Australian one. I think that'd be great. The other idea that I've thought of is perhaps we could do a more international one, a more, how can we say it, local, international. There was actually plans at the beginning of this year. We had an opportunity, unfortunately it didn't work out, it fell through, but we did have a potential opportunity to go and pick up a dinosaur skeleton, to actually acquire a dinosaur skeleton for Creation Research in the museum here. There was a potential opportunity, and that would have been in France. And so the idea was to do a road trip to France, me in the car, right? It would be about a week actually going and turning it into sort of like, road trip the movie type of thing, where we travel into France and went and picked up the dinosaur and visited a few geological locations along the way as well. Now, that obviously, as I say, fell through, but the idea is there, and the idea is fairly strong, of doing a more sort of localised international road trip, going a little bit further afield. I think Germany would be a great place, the home of the original Jura Mountains, right? It's moderately well or easily accessible for the UK. We can sort of get there without too much issue or trouble. And that would actually, I think, work out really quite well. Get to the Solnhof and do some digging, visit some people over there. I think something like that might work really quite well. But there's a lot that would need to be thought through worked through and developed if we were going to be able to actually do that. So that's why we do need your support. We need you as your supporters to partner with us so that we can afford to do some of these things, because I do think, with a little bit of tweaking, this is our second proper road trip that we've done, and with a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of extra equipment and a little bit of planning, we could make something really, really good program-wise out of this. One of the biggest troubles that I found is the live videos are great, and I like doing the live videos, but I really wanted to get these evening videos out, right? You know, this thing basically, right? The day 1, day 2, day 3. And the problem was I was finding is that when I was out on the road and I was filming it, I like the style of me and my own and so on and so forth. But when I was out on the road filming it, by the time you sit down and edit it, it has to be a very simple edit. I literally just top and tail the clips, effectively run them all together, a little bit of editing here and there with volume or so on and so forth, and then export it. And the problem is, to get the high quality stuff, it takes sometimes an hour and a half to export it. So if I start editing, and it can take a couple of hours to edit it, even if it's simple. So if I start editing at, say, 8 o'clock at night, how I did sometimes, or even 9 o'clock at night, it's then sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night before I export it, midnight before it's finished exporting, and then I set it uploading overnight, and in the morning I set it to go live. So there's a little bit of thinking needing to be done about how we edit and produce these, because I'd like to get it done, on the go. At one point I thought perhaps we could upload the footage, which could go to Sarah Ann, and she could edit it as the day goes along. That would work, perhaps, on the much better equipment that we have in the centre. But the downside of that is I don't always have good signal, right? And we're talking about very high quality clips here, filmed in 4K as we're filming in now. So some of these clips are 4 or 5 gigabytes, long. Some of the entire videos that we put out, the whole episodes are in excess of 20 to 30 gigabytes. So it takes a lot of, internet to be able to upload that and get that across, and it doesn't always work brilliantly if you're on the phone. So there's a few things that we need to think through and work through. So if you are techie people and have any ideas, send us a message, get in touch, let us know what you think. But I think that overall the idea of a road trip and doing more of these is a very good idea. All right, let's work down through then some of the things that we've acquired and got. Some of this obviously we've found, some of this we got from the fossil show. So we'll work down through some of these bit by bit and see what we've actually got, and also talk a little bit about some of the relevance of each of these things that we've found here. So this was actually one that I liked. There was a lady who was doing an offer on minerals. As I sort of said, sometimes with these fossil shows there's a big heavy emphasis on the mineral side of things. So when you go there at the fossil show, roughly a third of it was fossils, probably 2/3 of it was gems, but even the gems were kind of split into two halves. They were split into the the scientific gem people. So here's this particular crystal, or here's this particular mineral. There was minerals of Derbyshire, right, where they had all the different types of minerals from that area. Minerals of Scotland, they had a guy who came from mines that he'd been to overseas with stalactite formations and so on and so forth. And then probably a small amount, or maybe half of that, were the sort of, how should we put it, the sort of new agey kind of style of things. Things like crystals and wands and carved, so on and so forth, and fertility stones and stuff. But I had a quick look around the crystal stuff, because there are some of those, the scientific more collections, all labelled and everything. There's a lady selling things for half price, so we've got a few interesting things. This is a stilbite, which is from India, actually, from Pune in India, from an old collection. So we're trying to sort of slowly build up the different crystal forms and so on and so forth in our collection. We've got a little crystal collection going on. So as they were sort of cheap and half price, and sometimes we can always go out and collect stuff ourselves, but what are the chances of getting to Pune in India to actually get hold of it? Probably not an awful lot. This is another one from the same from Pune in India. This is prehnite, which is a lovely little crystal there. You can see very, very pretty, and sort of this sort of milky kind of colour. So there's a few little crystals to add to the collection that we can carry on building up. We've got some more of these fossils here. So this is a nice Silurian fossil. We don't actually have very many Silurian fossils, but this is from the Wenlock series. It's a big old coral there, as you can see. Pretty nice. You can see the detail underneath as well. You've got a few other little things, a few little brachiopods and so on and so forth in there. So that's really nice. This is actually from Shropshire, but it's from a quarry which you can't access anymore. So again, this kind of thing is quite valuable in the sense that how many more there are out there that we can get, especially if you can't go to the location and actually dig them up. So the Silurian rocks, by the way, are named after the Siluri tribe, which were a Welsh Celtic tribe, a bit similar to the Ordovician rocks. They're named after the Ordovici tribe. So there's a nice addition to the collection there. This was one of my more favourite ones, actually. There was a French couple who owned a quarry that actually came to the show, and they had a whole range of various fossils, including this one, which I quite like. It's one of the biggest gastropod fossils that I've ever seen. Pretty amazing, really. This is what we call an internal cast. So it is actually a real fossil. It's not a plaster of Paris cast or anything like that. You can tell that because if you have a look at what the rock actually is, you can actually see it's full up of fossils in itself, right, which is pretty cool. But effectively what it is as if the fossil gets buried, right, creature inside gets destroyed and the shell itself gets infilled with another mineral, in this case a limestone. It's very similar to what goes on at the Isle of Portland. You go to the Portland limestone, you find the Portland corkscrew sort of, they're these kind of things where this is actually infilled. So the shell would have been on the outside, the shell has been destroyed or rotted away, either an acid has broken it down or it's just been crushed as the earth has sort of moved around. You end up with this sort of internal structure, but it is a fossil, it is a living fossil. They're quite a bit smaller today, but it's a pretty decent looking. We've not got one of those for the collection before, so it's a nice big gastropod fossil shell for the collection. So that's really nice. Let's carry on through some of these because we got a few different things, as you know. Let's see what this is. Oh yes, this is some more of the minerals. We've got a great big piece of lava. Which is from Iceland. Now, we collected some of the lava from Iceland when we went there. We were limited on sort of what we could come back, and this is actually a really nice, big, lightweight piece. So that's a really nice example for the museum collection there. Let's get that down there and pull out some more bits. What have we got going on here? Ah, yes, so this is actually a piece of mammoth tusk, but it's actually quite a special piece. This is from a place where the very last known mammoths were alive from the last, what they call the last glaciation, which is, in biblical terms, the end of the Ice Age, but it's from, I'm going to try and pronounce this here, Nabrovrisk Island in Siberia. This is where we know that some of the last mammoths existed, even up to the last sort of couple of thousand years. So that's quite a nice piece of sort of modern, if you like, mammoth bone. Very little, you can see how worn it is, very little preservation going on there. So that's a nice addition to the collection, which we haven't got any of that here before. Let's see what's in here. This is more of the minerals. I can tell because of the label on it. Let's have a look. I think this might be, yes, very nice. So we've got, what have we got here? A form of calcite, but this is from Cardiff in South Wales, from a mine that has, again, closed down now. So you can see the lovely crystalline structure on that. That's really, really pretty. So it's a form of, a bit like a flowstone. So it's in the sort of family of stalactites in the sense that it's formed by flowing water as it's cooling and crystallizing. So that's a nice one. I think we've got one more. Let's see what this is. This might be one more crystal-y type mineral, I believe. Yes, it is. Let me pull this out. Here we are. So this is, celestine, which is really nice. The nice banding colour that you can see on it. There we are. Look at that. Really, really pretty. So we do try and build up some of these mineral collections. I think it's quite important to have a range of these sort of different geological specimens, so that's really nice. All right, now we have a massive fossil here from the Isle of Wight. It's a huge, huge, huge vertebrate. You can see the original rock there. This is Wessex Formation, and you can see this enormous vertebrae with all of those details in there. So this is going to be lovely, probably full of collagen. We'll try and test it at some point, see what kind of soft tissue there is in there. But it's a huge vertebrate, one of the largest I've ever seen. Very, very heavy. It's definitely sauropod. So sauropod was one of those long-necked dinosaurs, but there's a couple of potential candidates. The most likeliest one is going to be the Camarasaurids, or a Camarasaurid of some description. So I'm going to go through some of the dinosaur books of the Isle of Wight and see what we can find in terms of description, see if we can get to a specific description for this. This actually comes from an old collection from the Isle of Wight, one of the big collectors, and he had a museum collection there, and so we've been able to acquire that, and that's a really, really nice, big, chunky dinosaur example, because I think I mentioned in one of the books we are developing a dinosaur exhibition. So once a year we're trying to develop a new exhibition for the museum. This year it was the Living Fossils exhibition. It was trialled at a big homeschoolers conference. So next year, or end of this year going into next year, it'll be the dinosaur exhibition. And to actually go along with the dinosaur, we've actually got a couple of big crocodile jaws here from Canada. So that's really nice. Let's see if I can pull some of these out for you to have a look at, because there's some nice examples of a pair of crocodile jaws. Also down here, if you just come down and have a look at this, this is also a Titanosaurus, I believe. Yes, so it's one of the Titanosaurs from Oxford, which I think is really nice, really nice detail in there. It's been crushed at one end, so that's undergone a huge amount of pressure, probably during burial as it's gone through that. So that's more evidence again of your sort of rapid burial and deep burial as well as it's kind of got in. But have a look at these crocodile jaws. So this is really nice big Cretaceous crocodile. So again, crocodile, Cretaceous, these are supposed to be around the sort of 75 million year mark, and they haven't changed. They are living fossils, so this can either go on the living fossil display, it can go in the rapid fossil display, the nice big dinosaur fossil display, and so on and so forth. So there's plenty of potential with those fossils there. All right, if we move on a little bit, because we start getting into some of the stuff that we've found and dug up while we've been here. This is one I don't think I showed you. You remember we have we did our, oh, there's my saucepan, let's put that over there. You remember we did our Mother Shipton's visit. Here's the original bag. Here's the teddy bear that's inside it. Very nice and heavy and dense teddy bear as well. Nice detail on that as well, really good. So again, good evidence of rapid burial. But what we also had, if you remember, you had that sort of cascading water where they hung the teddy bears under. And then down on the floor, there were bits of twigs and wood that had fallen in. So I leant down and had a look at some of them, and this is what I was able to pick up. You can see it's a big old piece of wood that's ended up falling in. And look, I'll bring it up to the... It's actually now solid rock, and so it has actually permineralized, it's petrified. We can break some of this open and test it inside, which is what we're going to do. Very, very similar to the stuff that's at Harper Hill, right? We did those experiments a little while back at Harper Hill, which we passed on the way yesterday, but we couldn't get out and go and have a look. But we saw you had these fence posts which had gone into the ground and a few years back, and so we dug one of these out, and you can see it starts off as wood, and as it gradually gets down and starts to get buried, you can see how the minerals have impregnated it. By the time you get all the way down to the bottom and we split it in open, it was petrified all the way through. And so this is a really, really good example of that same concept of something that's fallen in very recently and become petrified all the way through. It's now a proper fossil, even though sometimes some of these teddy bear fossils are not completely petrified all the way through. You do find it in this wood as an example. So that's a really good find there. Well, let's just have a quick recap then on some of the cool fossils that we found, because we have got plenty of them. Again, we've got, oh, actually, before we do that, let me show you about, yeah, I forgot these. This is what we got from the shop in Robin Hood's Bay. A few of the little gastropods, as you can see. Nice gastropod shells. These have been turned into agate. They're agatized, so that's basically a crystal form. What else have we got here? The rolled trilobite, I forgot about that. There's the rolled trilobite, really beautiful example of a rolled trilobite. Again, rapid burial while it's still alive as well. So we know that this creature has been buried while it was alive because it's rolled up. It didn't live there, die there and get buried there. It was died in action. Really good eye example as well. I don't know if you can just about see that. Really good examples of the nice eyes there. And then we have this one which I was really pleased about being able to get hold of, this really unusual fossil echinoid or sea urchin, which you can see just there. You can see where all the spines had gone. There's the base of it there. Really, really nice, really, really pretty. So that's a really nice example. All right, back on, sorry, to the stuff that we've... there's still something in there. Is that the stand? Yes, I think that's the stand. Let's pull that out before I throw that away. There we go. All right, back on the stuff that we found. So remember Whitby, first day. We found these beautiful cycads. You can see them there, pretty nice example. We'll chip away at some more of these and see if we can find anything a little bit deeper down. There's a few little bits and pieces in there. We can sort of clean some of these up and see what we can find. But nice example of a living fossil. You know, they're still alive today. They live in Australia. B, good example of climate change as well. It was warmer in Yorkshire when these were growing, and so on and so forth. There's our beautiful ginkgo fossil slab, full of brilliant detail in all of that. So that's really nice. You can see where we've chipped it and hacked it out until it's split open. So that's a really nice example there. And again, what we've got living fossils, we've got rapid burial, no evolution, change, yes, devolution, but no evolution. So that's a really nice example. I'm quite pleased with this, and I'm really pleased that they managed to get home safe as well. Just clear off some of the dust there. So obviously we've got the big Ammonites, which you can see on there. Let's get it around into the light a little bit so you can see it a little clearer. So you've got these big Ammonites here, which are really nice. But then up here, we've got this vertebrae. You can see the vertebrae there. Needs a little bit of a clean off, and that'll go down deeper into there. So get a little Dremel out and clean that up, and that'll be lovely. But really nice example of an ichthyosaur vertebrae next to your Ammonites. So that's really nice. Let's see, let's put this down on the table. Let me move this bag off, and we'll unload the bag in a bit as well. Right, what else have we got down here? Move some of this out of the way. Big bit of Whitby. So this is the Port Mulgrave stuff. So we've got a big example of Whitby jet. It's a nice shiny black that you can see there. That'll clean up really, really nicely. And it's obviously next to an ammonite as well. So you have plant and ammonite buried together. And as we've said before, when you get plants and ammonites, you know, plants and sea creatures, land plants, sea creatures buried together, you have evidence of a flood. Water where water shouldn't be. You can actually see as well, if we tip it around, you can see where it's become jet, the really jet black stuff. Hence the name. But you can also see the fossil wood, the kind of browny stuff that hasn't actually turned to jet as well. You can see it under there as well. There's a whole mixture of sort of the fossil wood which hasn't turned to jet. So it's definitely about a process for sure. We've got just a really nice example of some of the layering in the sandstone there. Nice geological specimen, which is from Whitby. We've got some more stuff from Port Mulgrave, so this will go in our Ammonites collection. We've actually got a pretty decent Ammonites collection. Let's, if we come around here a little bit, Sarah, so we can see on the light a little bit clearer. There we go. So we've got a really nice example of the Ammonite there. So this will all need to be sat down, or rather we'll need to sit down and go through it and go through the literature, work out exact species and so on and so forth when it comes to a lot of these Ammonites and fossils, and that'll be a bit of fun to do. And we're really building up our Ammonite collection in terms of the details and the species and the number, and I think that's really good to have that reference collection as well. What have we got on here? Can't see anything on this. That's probably broken off of another piece, but you can see we've got a big old chunk of ammonite there. These are some of the flat ammonites, so they're not always brilliantly preserved, and we came across hundreds of these, so we only brought back a few of the select best ones. So there's a nice one there. What have we got here? There's a nice one, a nice slab on there as well, so that's good. There's a few there, nice ammonites on there. So lots and lots of these big slabs of ammonites. Oh yeah, there's some shells in there, full of shells. So we've got big oyster shells and stuff in there, fossil ones. Lovely big horsetail. stem. Very, very nice. Again, living fossil, but changed, yes, because they're smaller today. So they've changed, yes, but they haven't evolved at all. We've got a whole bag of little belemnites and little bivalves, little seashells in there. Let's see what we've got. That bit didn't have anything. I think that might just be about it in here. Yes, now I wondered whether this was bone or not. It certainly looked a bit bony to me when I first found it, but looking inside, I think that's all crystalline, so I'm not sure. I think it might just be a crystalline rock, possibly one of the sea defences. You often get these big heavy crystalline rocks which are used in sea defences, and when they wear down they can be a little bit deceptive. So right, big hammer as well, so we'll put that down and let's just unload the last thing, which is my rucksack. And my rucksack has basically remained pretty much untouched since we went to Cresswell, where the polystrate trees were, because the other days when I went round to Norfolk and I went round the Mamtor and the Peak District, I took my little rucksack with me because this had a rather hefty piece of coal in it. So I'll see if I can get out now. Here we are. That's from that big coal seam that was up the top. Obviously, it needs a bit of a clean up. It's covered in clay and stuff, but it needs a good old clean up. That's a really nice big chunk of coal, which we'll clean up and it'll go for display again. You've got the for reference for people, as well as for being able to go on display as a good example of some coal. There's my coat. I heard something else clunk in here. Is that another fossil? I asked myself. No, it was my big hammer. So I don't think I've got any other fossils in there. Just a rucksack that's, oh, there's my drink. Just a rucksack that needs a good old clean out by the looks of things. Let's check these side pockets to see if I've missed anything, because I sometimes stick bits in the side pocket. There's just tools in there. Oh, hello, what have we got in here? We've got a few rocky things in here. Let's have a look at what all these are. A whole handful of rocks in here. Okay, let's see. So we've got, oh yes, we've got an Ammonite. Yeah, these are the Port Mulgrave ones, right? So we've got the nice Ammonite there. That's a bit of crystalline rock that I wasn't sure about. I chipped a bit off. Another bit of an Ammonite there. So that's the one thing that we were quite devoid of, was these Ammonites. I've been there in the past and there's been hundreds and hundreds of them. We have about 2 whole boxes upstairs in storage. We also sell them, so if you come and have a look down here, these are the sort of the rough Whitby Ammonites that you find and you split. We found all of these at Port Mulgrave a couple of years back. Big old chunks, just absolute shed loads of the things, which we just didn't seem to have there anymore. These are some of the really nice detailed ones though that we have for sale in our shop. We have a whole load of them obviously upstairs as well in our museum collection, but these are the really nice ones. But we just didn't seem to find that many at the at Port Mulgrave this time, so maybe it just goes through sort of, it comes and goes, it wanes and so on and so forth, so you don't know exactly what you'll find. This is nice though. I'm not sure I pointed this out. It's a big piece of fossil wood, but can you see all the detail? It's actually palm. It's a palm tree fossil. So again, it's Jurassic. This is from that place in Whitby. It's quite crystalline. You can see some of the crystals in it as well. So that's a really nice example there. Living fossil, of course. Let's see what else we've got. Just another Ammonite, not a very good one, but it's an Ammonite nonetheless. More tools in there. I think I checked that pocket, checked the front pocket. I don't normally put anything in the front pocket. No, check the top. And I think that's just about, there's just one of those wire saws. That's it. So yeah, not a bad haul for the museum. Obviously, we're going to have to sit down and go through all these and catalogue them and organise them, and that's something which we need, volunteers to come and help with the organising and the cataloguing. But the living fossils will go straight up to the living fossil display, as will the dinosaurs go straight up to the dinosaur display. We'll organise some of these and set some of these up around the museum over the next couple of days, and the rest will be packed up, labelled, go into storage until we can properly sit and organise them and catalogue them and so on and so forth. So hopefully you've enjoyed the road trip overall. Again, let us know comments, your thoughts, your ideas about where you'd like us to go next. I like the idea of an international one, but we might have to take some little steps towards that. One of the problems that I found is, again, as I sort of alluded to earlier, is when I'm on the road trip, I get very little chance for anything else. So all the administration that we'd normally have to do at Creation Research has kind of gone on the back shelf, which means that now it's a lot of running around and trying to get organised. And I was thinking at one point perhaps I could extend the road trip until Tuesday or Wednesday, but that's just not going to work because of the amount of administration that we have to do and get caught up now on. So we're working through getting Creation Research better, not so much more productive, but sort of more efficient with regards to the administration side of stuff. So that'll certainly help. You can contact us if you want to help and get involved with that side of things. But ultimately, we would want to carry on doing these road trips. It'd be great to get John involved. It'd be great to get some other people to come along and do some meetups perhaps or something. There's lots of potential things that we could do with these road trips. And certainly going further afield as well to the States and to Australia if we think around and about how to do them. One of the problems with the States and Australia, of course, is it's very far to do anything. Sometimes a road trip, you literally spend the whole week just travelling from one place to another. But there'll be things that we can do and things that we can think about. So do let us know your feedback. Do continue to give us ideas and thoughts and how you enjoyed it or so on and so forth. I'll have a few more shorts that'll go up. I've got a few more shorts that can go up. We might do another live video, which probably have actually come out before this. But we'll go through some of these things. But really, this is wrapping all the road trip up. It's bringing all the road trip to the end. So I would like to say a very heartfelt thank you to everybody who's watched along the journey, everybody who's commented, everybody who's given some donations through the Super Chat. We really greatly appreciate all of your donations and all of your support. Thank you for the journey that you've joined me on, and continue to like, subscribe, share the journeys around, let people know about Indiana Jones's road trips, as well as, of course, things like Creation Conversations and so on and so forth. And we try and get as much of this content out as possible. I've got one last thing I'd just like to show you very quickly before we wrap this up. So if you want to come upstairs with me, I'd quite like to show you some of the Ammonite collection, because we've recently started pulling all the Ammonites together that we've got in our museum collection and getting them in an old Victorian cabinet unit, which we've started to catalogue them all in. So these are all of the dinosaur, by the way, the dinosaur fossils that we've just been working on a new exhibition about. And if you come over the back here, switch on some lights. So these are some of our Ammonites and stuff, and this whole unit, this is an old Victorian fossil display unit. So we've got some stuff from places like in Germany, these great big beautiful Ammonites. This is one from Burton Bradstock in the UK. That's down on the south coast. And actually, I know I briefly we went to the Isle of Wight for the first road trip, right? But we could spend a whole week just on the south coast, the Dorset coast. I know we briefly went there just for one day, I think it was. We were investigating stuff for the convention that we held last year. But that whole south coast of Dorset is fabulous for fossils. Got a few more Ammonites here as well. You can see our big sort of diseased, mutated one, the heliocentric Ammonite. Big old Ammonite. This is actually a male and a female, interestingly enough. This is the male, this is the female. So you can see the female starts very, very thin ridged, and then it gets to about there and it becomes very, very thick ridged, whereas the male is fairly consistently ridged all the way through his shell. So that's how you tell the difference. We've got ones from the Isle of Skye. This is also from the Lias, so that's really nice. But just come have a look at these as we pull down through some of these drawers. All different examples of Ammonites from all around the world. Things from obviously the famous Whitby ones that we've seen. More of these examples here, really nice ones. Hematite Ammonites, the big cannonball ones, which are really, really nice. We'll go down through a few more of these drawers, and these are all really for reference, ultimately, not just for display, which obviously you want to put them on display, not just to teach people about them, but also for reference, building up a library catalogue in a sense. This is a really nice one that I I really like that one. That's just fabulous. Some of the big chunky straight-shelled ones as well. More than was, there's actually a belemnite, not an ammonite, but never mind. These are the big ones from the UK, from down near Somerset Way. Beautiful, great big ammonites. Just absolutely fabulous. We've got one of my favourite ones is this one here, the big green one. Really, really beautiful. And that's actually from near Scunthorpe in Lincolnshire. Big ones here, more the Burton Bradstock ones. Ones that we've got from overseas as well. We've got some in here from Kenya, from Africa, and all sorts. So more in there. Just really nice examples of big chunky ammonites from all different forms of geology, from all different locations all over the world. And these will be great for students. These will be great for researchers wanting to come. These will be great for creationists wanting to do work on the ammonite kind as well, because ammonites are a really good example of after their kind, because they exist on the earth for a supposed just over 300 million years, and in that time they don't change one little bit. They stay ammonites. So they're really good examples of that sort of after their kind concept, and I think it'd be great if we could do some more work on this kind of after their kind concept when it comes to ammonites. So these are all very, very useful catalogues, and we've got a few other box loads of stuff which we need to sort out. This is the living fossils display, which some of those fossils will come up and go on display very shortly. But anyway, I'm waffling on. Thank you so much for... Sarah's nodding behind the camera. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for all of your support. I will let you know when the next road trip will come along. Who knows? May even try another winter one, a January one, like we did down to the Isle of Wight. But yeah, thank you so much, folks. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Goodbye and God bless, folks. Indiana Joe out.